The Binding of Isaac, a foreshadowing of Yahushua, Jesus. Shalom and welcome to the channel, brothers and sisters, and all people of Yah's earth. In this video, we're going to explore the binding of Isaac in full detail, drawing from scripture, the book of Jasher and historical context to reveal how this event foreshadowed Yahuah's, the Lord's ultimate plan of salvation through Yahushua, Jesus. The command to sacrifice Isaac. Genesis chapter 22 verses 1-2. Now it came to pass after these things that Elohim tested Abraham, and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Take now your son, your only son Isaac whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. This was a test of faith, as Isaac was the son of promise, through whom Yahuah had declared Abraham's descendants would come. Genesis chapter 17 verse 19. This foreshadowed how Yahuah himself would later offer his only begotten son, Yahushua, as the ultimate sacrifice. Satan's attempt to deceive Abraham and Isaac. The book of Jasher 23:25-40 expands on this event, showing how Satan tried to stop Abraham and Isaac from fulfilling Yahuah's command. Satan appears as an old man. Satan first approached Abraham, trying to deceive him by questioning if Yahuah really commanded him to sacrifice his son, just as he deceived Eve in the garden. Jasher 23:25. And Satan came to Abraham in the figure of a very aged man, humble and of contrite spirit. And he approached Abraham and said to him, Are you silly or brutish, that you should do this thing this day to your only son? Abraham rebukes Satan. Abraham, recognizing the deception, rebuked Satan and told him that he would not be swayed. Jasher 23:26. And Abraham answered Satan, The Elohim in whom I trust and who commanded me to take my son, he will deliver me from all evil. Satan tries to deceive Isaac. When Abraham ignored him, Satan then appeared to Isaac, trying to frighten him. Jasher 23:34. And Satan appeared to Isaac in the figure of a young man, comely and well-favored, and said, Dost thou not know and understand that thy old silly father bringeth thee to the slaughter this day? Satan transforms into a river of water. When deception failed, Satan then tried to physically stop them by turning into a river, which Abraham and Isaac had to walk through. Jasher 23:37. And Satan transformed himself to a large brook of water in the road, and Abraham and Isaac and his two young men reached that place, and they plunged in the brook and passed through it. This symbolizes baptism, as they walked through water before reaching the place of sacrifice, much like how Yahushua was baptized before beginning his sacrifice. Satan's accusation before Yahuah. Before Abraham's test, Satan accused him before Yahuah, claiming that Abraham had forgotten him after Isaac's birth. Jasher 22:44-55. Even from the time of his son's birth till now, being 37 years, he built no altar before thee, nor brought any offering to thee. For he saw that thou didst give what he requested before thee, and he therefore forsook thee. And the Lord said to Satan, Hast thou thus considered my servant Abraham? For there is none like him upon earth, a perfect and an upright man before me, one that feareth Elohim and avoideth evil. As I live, were I to say unto him, Bring up Isaac thy son before me, he would not withhold him from me. And Satan answered Yahuah the Lord, and said, Speak then now unto Abraham as thou hast said, and thou wilt see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside thy words. Isaac as a foreshadow of Yahushua. A willing sacrifice. Isaac was not a small child, but a strong young man, traditionally believed to be 37 years old, as mentioned in the book of Jasher, who willingly submitted to being sacrificed, just as Yahushua willingly went to the cross. Genesis chapter 22 verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. This parallels John chapter 19 verse 17, where Yahushua carried his own cross to Golgotha. The only begotten son. Genesis chapter 22 verse 2. Take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love. This is a foreshadowing of John chapter 3 verse 16. For Yahuah so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. The location, Mount Moriah and Golgotha. Isaac was to be sacrificed on Mount Moriah, the very place where Yahushua would later be crucified. 2 Chronicles chapter 3 verse 1. Then Solomon began to build the house of Yahuah at Jerusalem on Mount Moriah. Yahuah provides the ram instead. Just as Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, Yahuah intervened. Genesis chapter 22 verses 11 to 13. But the angel of Yahuah called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. So he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not lay your hand on the lad. Then Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. The ram represents Yahushua, crowned with thorns, just as Yahushua wore a crown of thorns before his sacrifice. John chapter 19 verse 2. And the soldiers twisted a crown of thorns and put it on his head. This foreshadows how Yahushua would take our place, just as the ram took Isaac's place. Abraham rejoiced at Yahushua's coming. Yahushua referenced this event when speaking to the Jews. John chapter 8 verse 56, Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. This confirms that Abraham understood that Yahuah would one day send his own son as the true sacrifice. The binding of Isaac was a prophetic picture of Yahuwah's plan to redeem humanity through Yahushua. Abraham's faith foreshadowed the father's willingness to give his son. Isaac's willingness represented Yahushua's obedience. The substitution of the ram foreshadowed Yahushua taking our place. Mount Moriah became Golgotha, the place of the ultimate sacrifice. Walking through Satan's river symbolized baptism before the sacrifice. Just as Isaac was spared, we are spared from eternal death through the blood of Yahushua. Romans chapter 8 verse 32, He who did not spare his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? May we, like Abraham and Isaac, walk in faith and trust in Yahuwah's perfect plan of salvation. Shalom. I hope and pray you all enjoy this video, and may Yahuwah, the Lord, bless you all through Yahushua, Jesus.